Hello and welcome to the first of our How-To Guru Guides, a bit of friendly advice for those of you starting out in the world of non-professional radio presenting. This time we'll be talking about how to structure your radio show. Now what we're showing you is not a definitive answer, it's just one suggestion of how you could structure your show, so take as much or as little from this guide as you need. So we're going to structure a hypothetical show and we're going to use Excel to do it, although any spreadsheet making software will work fine. Let's assume our show is 2 hours long. We're going to put the time in 5-minute intervals down the side so we start looking at it like a running order. Now maybe there are some fixed elements in your show like the news. These are the kind of things you want to put in first before we build in the more fluid elements of the programme. Let's say that the news comes in on the O clock every hour. Another fixed element could be adverts. At your station this could mean anything from sponsored ads for products to trails for other shows on the station. We'll put those on the half hours to break up the show evenly. You have to think of each show as a story with a beginning, middle and end. So at the beginning you have to ease the listener in. Let's put in an opening link at the top. How you open your show depends on the style of your show, but for instance you could open with an anecdote to set the tone. You also might want to have the contact details in there so your listeners know how to get in touch on Twitter or text or on the phone. In the case of this show, it's a good idea to put a reopening link at the top of the second hour, so straight after the second news bulletin. You don't want to make it sound like you're starting a whole new show, but bear in mind some new listeners might have joined you after the news. So you need to remind people what your show is, what's coming up in the next hour, and remind them of all the important ways they can get in touch. The next thing we're going to put in is some features. The number you want to put in your programme is up to you. You might choose a feature heavy or a feature light show. For this show, we're going to assume there's 3 to 4 features an hour. Some features like quizzes might be broken into 2. One section for the question and one for the answers, allowing time in between if it's an interactive quiz. We're going to spread them evenly throughout the show. Just on a side note, the features we put in may seem odd, but these were real features with a real purpose and for a real reason. Honest. In the gaps we left, there might be some topics that you want to debate or an observation that you want to share with your listeners. We spread these out evenly by putting 2 an hour interspersed around the features. We've also put a closing link at the end so you can say goodbye to your listeners properly. You could even give an idea of what will be on your next show to give them an incentive to tune in next time. The other possibility is to mention the show coming up after yours to give more of a sense of continuity for your audience. The rest of the gaps can be filled with anything depending on if your show is more speech or music heavy. In the case of this show, we would probably fill the rest up with songs. It's also worth noting that each item may not last for the full 5 minutes of the time slot that you've allocated it. So if you're doing a music programme, there will probably be more music in than there actually appears room for on the spreadsheet. And that's about it for our first guide. Let's just point out again that you don't have to stick to this, it is just a suggestion. And don't forget to read below for what our contributor, Jingleman, has to say on this topic. Keep an eye out for our next How-To Guru Guide coming soon to the site. The next one will be how to get comfortable with a mic. So if you have any advice on that topic, let us know. Write it in the forum or see our contact page for other ways to get in touch.